Hi, I'm Jack Dunigan, and this is Lessons in Leadership, brought to you by thepracticalleader.com. Appreciate you watching. Today we're going to talk about something that was provoked by a conversation I had just a week ago with a colleague. It's that she had been at a national leadership conference for a large organization here in the U.S. They have about 300 offices around the country and about 10,000 people who work in those offices. They provide mentoring services to people who are in business or want to go in business, and they help out in a variety of different ways, from just startup entrepreneurship through financing, through business management, and all of the sort of things that have to do with running a business, accounting, marketing, personnel, everything like that. In this leadership conference, she said that there was some pushback from maybe half or a little bit more than half of the people who were there as to the content and the nature of the workshops that were presented. There were breakout sessions. They had a number of plenary sessions, which I didn't hear anything about. I don't know if they were good or bad, but in the breakout sessions, typically what happened is 40, 50 people at a time would meet in a room, and there would be a moderator for that particular session, and then there would be as many as from 2 to 3 presenters who would tell what they were doing in their particular office to gather business or to extend their reach in the community, stuff like that, or just the techniques that they were using to help people. And the pushback that they got from people who had been there more than once, and I can sort of identify why they would say, is it was largely the same. And second of all, there was too much top-down dictation of what you should do or could do in your office, that they felt like they were being issued directives and they were being issued policy from somebody up in the top office who actually had little experience in the field, which is true, by the way. I know the organization, good people who work in the office, and well-meaning. I don't want to imply anything other than that, but they certainly were not too well versed in how things happen right on the field. So the pushback came because these people who were competent, they were maybe from varied backgrounds, but they were certainly very competent in what it is that they do, felt like that they were being issued policy and processes, and not enough attention was being paid to actually equipping and training them. And if you've been listening to these or reading my blog for the past several years, you'll know that I'm an equipping person, that my philosophy of leadership, which is one I think that's valid for all people who are going to extend their reach, multiply their effectiveness, and divide their work, which of course is the tagline of my organization itself, is how to extend your reach, multiply your effectiveness, and divide your work. It has to do with multiplication through other people, that you're going to release them. And rather than a top-down organizational chart, which I don't like, but when you have an organization that has at the center a group of people who are working in a collaborative effort to reach the goals of the organization, they're going to extend them, and they're going to multiply your efforts. And my philosophy, which is borne out from more than 40 years of experience, is that the people we gather around us, we're careful about recruiting and certainly right about our philosophy of management, is that these people are going to be quite competent, and they're going to come up with things that need to be done that you can't think of. So while policies are important, I think that the key thing is personnel. So I thought of that as I was talking to this colleague of mine about this organization, and I said, well, here's the problem. I said, and I diagrammed to her what it is that I'm going to present to you right now, is that they're not paying enough attention to personnel, that the real life of the organization is certainly not in the policies or even the purpose of the organization, but it's in the people who are actually managing and administering the organization. So I drew this diagram, and the first leg of balanced organization is, of course, in its purpose and in its planning. If you don't have a clearly defined purpose for the organization, then just about anything you want to do will serve to occupy time, and you might even make a little bit of money. And you certainly will keep people occupied, and you may feel like that you're accomplishing something, but if you have no objective, then you're just sort of doing stuff. And again, you can read some of the things on my blog about that. But purpose and plans are very important. A well-defined mission statement, a well-defined vision statement are very, very important so that you can gather and focus effort in one direction. Along with that are the processes and policies that are put in place to enable the purposes to be realized. And so you may, I'm not a big fan of policies. You got to have them, but I don't like lots of them because if you have a lot of them, I agree with Michael Vance, the head of the Creative Center for Leadership and colleague of Walt Disney. I agree with him that too many policies indicate that you just simply don't trust people to do the right thing. And if that's the case, then you have to look at that and say, why do I not trust them? And is the problem with trust in them or in you or in both? And that's another issue we're not going to deal with in this talk. But you're going to look at that and say, do I have too many policies that are going to dictate to people? What I want to convey, what I always convey to people, if you're developing people under you and around you, what you're going to do is well communicate to them and often communicate to them the objectives. So if the business is to make money, if you have a nonprofit organization, it's to fulfill the mission of the organization and to have the desired effect. It's not intentions. Intentions are irrelevant. They may be nice sounding, but it's action and results that we're always interested in. And so you're going to communicate that to everybody so that you're able to release them. You say, you guys come up with all this stuff that needs to be done. Certainly you have some policies that are going to be necessary, but keep them to a minimum. If you start dictating too many, then you start to imply to people you're not smart enough to be able to figure this stuff out on your own, which is not such a good thing. So you have purposes and plans. That's one part of the organization. You have processes and policies, but the bottom part of the people, and notice I put this at the bottom because it really supports everything. People are the devices, the means. I hate to use that term because I don't want to objectify them, but they're the way that things get done. They bring life to the processes and policies, and they bring the action of the work that is accomplished to reach your purpose and plans. So the people are the one you want to pay attention to. So leadership is not a think tank where you get together and you come up with the cleverly worded purposes and carefully thought out plans. Nor is it the place where you write and create and disseminate all of these policies and then structure all of the processes. That actually happens with managers. It should happen more than it does with leaders. But the role of leaders is to deal with people, and because that's how life works. So you're going to impart to those people that you're working around you what it is that you intend to do, and how it is that you intend to realize it, and the nature of the work that you're engaged in, and then you're going to release them to come up with creative ways to do that. Every time you hand out authority to somebody, give them an office, by that I mean a position in the company, it's on the basis of objectives to be realized, not the authority that they can wield, but the objectives that they're going to realize, and then let them do it. And I'll be talking more about this in the days to come, and I'm working on my next book called The Habits and Traits of Superlative Leaders. And this is very, very important, because if you're going to be an outstanding leader, you're going to be a very gifted person who can work well with people. If you want to stay in an office somewhere and write purposes and plans and devise these processes and disseminate policies, I'm going to suggest to you that you're probably not a leader, you're more of a manager, and that's fine. That's okay, but there is a distinction. So remember that. A well-balanced organization has purposes and plans, it has processes and policies, and it has people. And the people are the fundamental to everything else. The busier an organization or business becomes, and the larger it becomes, the less it attends to people. And the more leaders tend to get engaged in all of this other stuff that somebody else could well be handling. So I'm going to challenge you today, as you're looking at your business or you're looking at your organization, what are you doing in order to bring life and recognition and strengthen and extend your reach through other people? Who is it that's around you that can do what it is that needs to be done in order to make the organization, the business, a success? and then do what you can to impart to them, and light the creative fire within other people and make it happen. All right, thanks for paying attention, and that'll do it for today. If you like this, if you're looking at this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel below. If you're looking at it on our blog, thanks for paying attention, and stand by, both of you, for major changes that are coming in the next few weeks. Major changes, good stuff, really, really good stuff that's happening to the Practical Leader over the next few weeks, and stand by, you're going to be able to see all of that.